10 Best Episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1 ranked. Star Trek The Next Generation got off to a bit of a rocky start with its inconsistent first season, but it still delivered some solid episodes that hinted at the show's future greatness. When Star Trek The Next Generation began in 1987, it ushered in a new golden era of Star Trek that would continue throughout the next decade. The Star Trek The Next Generation characters eventually became just as beloved as Captain James T. Kirk William Shatner and his crew had been. It may have taken some time for TNG to become truly great, but its first season did a solid job of introducing the characters and establishing their world. For much of Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1, it felt like the show was still trying to find its footing, and many of the actors were still finding their characters. Plus, the show's writers' room became notoriously chaotic, with writers coming and going with surprising regularity. Still, all of the elements were there for TNG to become a success, and certain episodes hinted at the show's potential. John D. Lancey's Q debuted in Star Trek The Next Generation's premiere, Encounter at Farpoint, and he returns 10 episodes later to pull the Enterprise D crew into one of his games. Q reveals that the Q Continuum wants to test Commander William Riker Jonathan Frakes to see if he is worthy of their godlike powers. Riker is momentarily tempted by these powers, but ultimately rejects them. While John D. Lancey is always great as Q, pairing him with Riker doesn't work as well as pairing him with Picard. Proving this point, the scene where Q and Picard quote Shakespeare at one another is an episode highlight. In some ways, Hyde and Q feels like an episode of Star Trek, the original series, which comes with both positives and negatives. Home Soil tells a classic science fiction heavy story that bears similarities to a classic Star Trek episode called The Devil in the Dark. When the Enterprise visits a terraforming colony, they stumble upon an inorganic crystalline lifeform that may be intelligent living on the planet. The lifeform, which is unfortunately dubbed Microbrain, is suitably alien, and the episode ends in a classic Star Trek way. Home Soil seems to forget about the silicon-based Horta from The Devil in the Dark, but otherwise, it's an interesting story with some cool sci-fi concepts. In one fun scene, LT Commander Data Brent Spiner uses his android reflexes to avoid an automatic laser and later agrees with the crystalline lifeform that humans are ugly giant bags of mostly water. When Star Trek The Next Generation TNG first launched in 1987, it carried the burden of reviving Gene Roddenberry's optimistic vision for humanity amid skeptical fans and a towering legacy. Season 1 of TNG is often regarded as uneven, filled with growing pains and experimental plotting. However, within its 25 episodes, there are hidden gems, daring ideas, and classic Star Trek heart that paved the way for the show's later brilliance. Here are the 10 best episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1, ranked from good to great. 10. 11001001 Episode 15. Why It Works, Clever Plot, Intriguing AI, and a Very Human Data Moment. When the Enterprise docks for computer maintenance, the ship is upgraded by the mysterious Biners, an alien race with a cybernetic culture. What starts as a routine tune-up quickly escalates into a full-blown hijacking. 11001001 mixes sci-fi tension with a surprisingly poignant exploration of artificial intelligence and interdependence. The holodeck subplot, involving Riker's synthetic love interest Minuet, also adds a personal dimension that deepens Riker's character. 9. Heart of Glory, Episode 20, Why It Works, introduces Worf's cultural struggle and Klingon lore. While investigating a damaged freighter, the Enterprise crew encounters rogue Klingons who spark a crisis of loyalty in Worf. This episode offers the first real look into Klingon culture in TNG and plants seeds for Worf's rich arc in future seasons. More than just a shoot-'em-up in space, Heart of Glory lets us see Worf as both a Starfleet officer and a son of warriors, a duality that would define his journey. 8. The Battle, Episode 9, Why It Works. Picard's past catches up with him in a cerebral way. When the Ferengi return a long-lost Starfleet vessel, the USS Stargazer, to Picard, it triggers a painful episode of manipulated memory and revenge. This early delve into Captain Picard's backstory offers fans a glimpse of his earlier command and introduces the idea that the past, even in space, has shadows. The mind control subplot isn't perfect, but the episode shines in building character history and exploring guilt. 7. Where No One Has Gone Before, Episode 6. Why It Works, abstract sci-fi with heart and vision. This early standout finds the Enterprise hurled across the universe thanks to the mysterious powers of an alien known as the Traveler. Though the episode leans heavy into technobabble, its philosophical underpinnings, mind over matter, thought shaping reality, give it a cosmic, almost mystical quality. Wesley Crusher's connection to the Traveler marks the beginning of his Chosen One arc, while the awe of exploration feels very in line with Roddenberry's vision. 6. Datalore, Episode 13. Why It Works, the first peek into Data's past and his dark mirror. In Datalore, the Enterprise visits the planet where Data was discovered and uncovers his evil brother, Lore. Brent Spiner's double performance is a masterclass, and the episode establishes a recurring theme of identity and duality that TNG would return to throughout its run. Though the episode suffers from a few pacing issues, it's essential viewing for any fan of Data's character and the questions he raises about humanity. 5. Symbiosis, Episode 22. Why It Works, classic Trek moral dilemma with a TNG twist. Symbiosis sees the Enterprise caught in a power struggle between two alien species, one addicted to a drug disguised as medicine and the other exploiting that addiction. The episode deftly explores issues of dependency, exploitation, and the Prime Directive. While the moralism is laid on thick, it's a classic Star Trek setup, a dilemma with no easy answers and characters forced to walk the line between intervention and indifference. 4. Conspiracy, Episode 25. Why It Works, paranoia, body horror, and a chilling finale. One of the most daring episodes of Season 1, Conspiracy veers hard into thriller territory. Suspicion mounts around a possible Starfleet infiltration, culminating in a grotesque body horror climax involving parasitic aliens. It was so intense that it came with a warning for viewers back in 1988. Though the storyline was never fully followed up, the episode remains one of the boldest swings of the season, and a rare early look at darkness in the TNG universe. 3. Coming of Age, Episode 19. Why It Works, personal growth, pressure, and quiet intrigue. In Coming of Age, Wesley Crusher faces a tough Starfleet entrance exam, while Picard is investigated by an old friend under orders from higher up. The parallel plots, one about personal development, the other about institutional scrutiny, show TNG beginning to find its character-driven core. Wesley's struggle feels authentic, while the subplot involving Admiral Quinn teases a larger conspiracy, which feeds directly into Conspiracy. 2. The Big Goodbye, Episode 12. Why It Works, holodeck noir fun meets narrative experimentation. Winner of a Peabody Award, The Big Goodbye was one of TNG's first real experiments with genre blending. Picard becomes trapped in a 1940s-style detective story on the holodeck, complete with gangsters, fedoras, and murder. What could have been a throwaway diversion becomes a celebration of storytelling, escapism, and the dangers of losing touch with reality. It also features great acting from Patrick Stewart, who clearly relishes the chance to play hard-boiled. 1. The Neutral Zone, Episode 26. Why It Works, a layered finale that balances humor, history, and high stakes. The Neutral Zone closes out Season 1 with both a bang and a wink. The